Housing issues leading to health problems for a family here in our borough. They have mold and now mushrooms taking over their City Feps apartment. News 12's Julia Burns is in Belmont with the family that's speaking out tonight.
A nightmare is growing inside of Maylene Garcia's home.
Get black, it lets off some goo, it drips, and it stays stuck there.
This family tells me they've dealt with mold in this apartment for years, but the mushrooms just started growing this summer.
It makes you sweat, it makes your eyes itch, it makes them burn, it makes your chest feel caved in. It's one of those that you shouldn't feel like that in your own home.
Now they tell me their son is temporarily out of school from the mold. Garcia tells me they've taken multiple steps to fix the issue. They filed a 311 complaint, taken it to housing court, and requested a transfer. But she tells me whenever someone comes to fix it, the issue persists.
Yeah, this has been 6 years going on with this, and I've been telling my son that we're going to get better. You know, we're going to get a better place, and we treat our home as our home, take care of it. But raising him in this is not okay.
Michael Davis says the mold adds to the list of why his doctors say he needs to live somewhere else. Davis sharing that note with me that says he needs to have a living situation where he is not exposed to conditions that lead to respiratory illness. They tell me they were offered another location, but management said the conditions aren't much better.
And I don't want to go to the shelter. It's like the next thing is the shelter.
We reached out to that management company multiple times.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
But have not heard back. In Belmont, Julia Burns, News 12 The Bronx.
Well, former and current residents of a Somerville apartment complex are now sharing their stories after seeing one woman come forward about a mold problem earlier this month.
Melissa Rademacher talked with a few women about their experience at the Latitude at Westcott, each having issues with the conditions and communication from the managers.
When I first noticed it, I started off by sending emails to the front office, just letting them know about it. I also made a couple of trips into the office to talk to someone as well.
Madison Harris feels she did everything right when she first saw mold, nearly a year after she moved in. She says it took months of emailing and visiting the office to get someone in her unit to check it out.
And it was frustrating because all they did was painted over it with some kills and called it a day. So it didn't feel like it was resolved because it came back shortly after.
Harris says the mold and mildew resistant paint job was too little too late. While current resident Casey Hendricks says she hasn't seen mold, her communication problems started even before she got on property.
Within 3 days of our move-in date, they told me that we could no longer have the 3-bedroom apartment on the first floor. They instead were moving us to a 2-bedroom apartment temporarily on the 3rd floor, which made it really difficult with 2 little kids and a dog.
Despite paying her deposit and hiring movers, Hendricks' family were in a space too small. And when they were finally allowed to relocate to a 3-bedroom months later, the conditions were concerning.
The water leak that was fixed prior to us moving in, this is the vanity that was never fixed it was like this when we moved in. I have done a walkthrough with the property manager, and she is aware of this as of last November and when I moved in, and it has still not been repaired. Prior water leaks through the building.
Now Hendricks is facing mounting water and sewer bills, and she wants answers. But with no repairs to her apartment yet, she doesn't think she'll ever get the help she's asking for.
Hearing how so many other apartments are filled with mold, it definitely makes you wonder what might be out there in your air ducts and stuff that you're not seeing.
It just didn't feel like they cared to really fix the problem.
Reporting in Somerville, Melissa Rademacher, Live 5 News.
Now, Latitude at Westcott has declined to comment after Live 5 News reached out in response to this story.
A Montgomery County man says his apartment is infested with mice and black mold. He says he's been dealing with issues for months now with no concrete solutions. Our Daniel Hamburg takes a closer look inside.
Anthony Jones says he's tried to go to management, he's tried to go to Montgomery County officials, but still the problems of his mold and mice in his apartment haven't been fixed yet. At the Warwick Apartments, Anthony Jones has resorted to covering his vents with steel wool and duct tape as he deals with the persistent mice issue.
You hear them in the walls, climbing up the walls all the time, you know, it's quite an issue.
He's also dealing with water leaking from his air conditioning units and from the ceiling, which created black mold in the closet of his second bedroom.
There's no reason to live with this. You know, whether it be mold issues, mice issues, any issue that is beyond the standards of living that we are given by law.
A county spokesperson said in a statement an inspection was done in July and the Department of Housing and Community Affairs notified the landlord of the violations. They said the tenant and landlord couldn't agree on protocols to access the unit so that repairs could be made. DCHA has been working with the tenant and the landlord to ensure repairs are made and follow-up remediation and extermination happen. I did reach out to the Donaldson Group, that's who manages the Warwick Apartments, and I have not heard back yet. In Montgomery County, Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
5, you won't believe what's growing inside the apartment of a woman in Green Valley. Those are mushrooms. She says they were popping up in her living room, and when she went to apartment complex management, they didn't seem to care, but we did. Here's Contact 13 investigative reporter Stephanie Zeppelin with a story you asked us to investigate.
Next to the movies and kids' toys, Jana Bainham found this, mushrooms growing up through her carpet. She blames a leak on her patio door frame.
Every time it rains, it leaks. Every time.
She says she asked management to fix it and asks them to fix it whenever it rains. And they do, but there's never a permanent fix.
It's my job as a mom to keep him safe, and I can't.
She wants out of her lease, not another temporary fix.
It's like I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this anymore.
While we were talking with Jana, the manager and 2 maintenance workers came to her door.
Well, what can you do for Jana? And you can't film me either. Well, it's illegal.
Filming them is not illegal, and we just want a resolution for Jana.
I've already spoken with her. She knows what's happening this week, and we are taking care.
What is happening this week? The manager would not answer the question and continued to ask us to leave, so we did. This is Stephanie from 13 Action News. And we called Olin, the property management company, but no one returned our calls. As for Jana, as long as they come out and fix her apartment when something goes wrong, the property is upholding their part of the lease. But if you have an issue with your apartment, you're entitled to a fix too. We have more details on the steps to take in this story on our website. Stephanie Zeppelin, 13 Action News.
Jana got in touch with us when she didn't know where else to turn. So as always, if you have a problem you need us to check out, send an email to 13investigates@ktnv.com and please be sure to include your phone number.